the unloved, the unappreciated, the undervalued? Let's check this out. Some things are hot and some things are not. Do you remember being in school as a kid? At least I do. And certain clothing was considered trendy and you wanted to have it. I think it was like body glove when I was in grade 5, big body glove shirts with a big hand on the back. And they were kind of like puffy painted. And then I think Varney came in. And then, of course, Ralph Lauren by like grade 8 and 9. People would check your tag to see if it was real or a cheap knockoff. They wanted to know if you had the real stuff. And guess what happened to those shirts? They go out of style. They get ignored. They get forgotten. Funny how style always comes back around. Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here. Thanks for hanging out with me on the channel today on another episode of Cards to Watch Reserve List Edition. You know, not every reserve list card has a home. Some people like to collect them still, but they don't have a place. They don't have a deck to call their own. And most people, let's face it, they ignore them. They say, who cares about that card? It's not going anywhere. It's not worth anything. I know that feeling well. People have told me all my life some of the cards I collect are total junk, and I can accept that. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, and the same is on the reserve list, but there are cards on that reserve list right now that are not being loved, not being remembered. Short-term memory loss, man. Remember that song? People just don't think about what the values are in the past, in the recent past, how high these things went. So they're letting them drift from memory, and that means the price is drifting down, and that can be to somebody else's advantage. And that's what I want to touch on today. I'm going to show you guys a series of cards, and I'll talk about these cards. But not all these cards are going to be worth money. Some cards I'm going to tell you not to buy and to hold back on. Other ones, hey, they're recommended ones because the price is just too good to pass up. Especially if you're going to be a person who wants to hold on to them long-term in a deck. If you're a flipper and you've got lots of liquidity, it's going to make perfect sense to you. I just find it fascinating how people forget this stuff. And they don't realize the gold mine some of these cards are when they come back around. And don't forget, guys, tomorrow, of course, is just my Cards to Watch edition, which is Friday. The Thursday is, of course, the Reserve List edition. Friday's the Cards to Watch. Then we have Saturday's Hot Top 10. And Sundays, that's right, Sunday is the Reserve List Hot Top 10, as well as the live stream this Sunday. I can't wait to see you guys there. So let's get into some of these cards. Let me go over my reasoning on some of these. Not all of them, but some of them. And we'll see where people are at. Because I like to see people's comments and stuff in this. But these cards aren't guarding, they're not getting reprinted. They're not coming back around. And as much as people might like to argue that they are, I don't think we're going to see it. Wizards just gets further and further away from that with each new set they put out. So let's get to some of these cards and let's take a look right now. Now we're going to start things off here with Lodestone Bobble. I've always enjoyed this card, people on the channel know, because it costs $0. This costs nothing to get out there. It's one in sacrifice the Lodestone Bobble to put up to 4 target basic lands from any player's graveyard on top of his or her library in any order. That player draws a card at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep. So you're drawing a card, we're putting land up, and it's free to do except for the 1 to actually activate it, but 0 to put out. How can this not be a good card, and how can it not be in more people's decks? I don't know, and I don't care. Because it was at a high of one point around that $20 mark, early 2021. It's had a few roller coaster rides here on the channel with a few people doing some small buyouts and stuff. And it's really been coming down in price, making it an attractive addition to somebody's collection. This is one of those cards I look at in the channel, and it's one of the cards I buy each and every month. I pick up 1 or 2 copies of near mint condition of this, because this card can go in commander decks. This card, if somebody's playing a land destruction deck, can come back around, or if you're the one playing land destruction, this is a card that can help get some of your lands back onto the battlefield and in order. I like that. Being able to put them back on top of your library and knowing you're going to draw a land, or nuking somebody else's field of battle and forcing them to draw lands for up to 4 turns can just be devastating. What a negotiation tool you can have in a commander game. I'm just saying it's one of those cards that caught my eye, and when you're talking $7 and change to get it, that's a pretty inexpensive price to pay for a piece of iconic Magic history. All right, now OPulescence. I think I actually pronounced that right. You guys will let me know in the comment section. Did I pronounce it correctly? Urza's Destiny. It's a 2 white, 2 generic. Each other global enchantment is a creature with power and toughness equal to the converted mana cost. It's still an enchantment. That's a pretty devastating card when you're using it in a white deck with tons of enchantments out there. Remember, it doesn't affect auras, it's just enchantments. But if you're using things with Sarah Sanctum, you're pumping out tons of enchantments, you can really like go to town on people in the particular build you might have, or as a card to blow up enchantments. You know, you activate them, make them all into creatures, and then nuke the whole battlefield full of creatures. It can be fun as well. It's a little more expensive, but I believe at one point this was like a $90 card. It's like 2/3 off right now. It's 1/3 of its original price at $29.49 per card. And I love the artwork, by the way. It looks like creepy, you know, you can just picture like a statue coming to life. Some magical enchantments made them all animate. Kind of creepy. It reminds me a little bit of Beetlejuice, you know, when the stairwell comes alive. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Or the football players in the back of the scenes. All right, now our next card, Yogmas Will. Guys, this thing was almost $500. It's $227 right now, US, for a near mint copy. You can find moderately played for a lot less, okay? Again, one of those amazing cards that, yes, it's restricted in some series, but you can use it in Commander, guys. This is a decent card to have. And remember, it's 1 black, 2 generic. Until end of turn, you may play cards in your graveyard as though they were in your hand. Cards Cards put into your graveyard this turn are removed from the game instead. That's right, I can't speak that properly when the text is that far from my eyeballs. But I look at it and say, look what this thing was at and look where we're coming around to. I would actually say hold off on this card. I know it's a great price right now, but I think it's going to continue to go down. I don't think people are paying attention. I think people have just forgotten. Let this thing drift down and there are a few points, man. See if we can get this thing into the 180 zone and really make it attractive for the people who might want to pick up a copy for some, you know, commander deck they're building. Which reminds me, I should probably get one of those for my throw bolt deck to bring stuff back just in case. Recasting 0 casting cost kobolds and stuff would be hilarious. All right, Time Spiral, Urza Saga. This one's not fallen the way I thought. I'll be honest, guys. I expected this card to already be in the 150s. I'm off on this card a bit with my timesheets, but I'm looking at it saying it's still an amazing card because the old cards like this from Urza Saga, that last line, okay, where it says, I'll read the whole card. 2 blue, 4 generic. Sorcery, Time Spiral. Remove Time Spiral from the game. Each player shuffles his or her graveyard in hand into his or her library and draws 7 cards. You untap 6 lands. So you're casting it, but you get to untap your lands and keep doing things. Everyone else can be tapped out. You can mess with people. I love this card. I was so happy I picked up my copy. It was $202 for those who remember on the channel when I bought it near mint. And I can tell you now, it's a little bit cheaper than that now, which is great. Right? Look at that US price and you go, okay, $172.45. Again, I think it's going to drop further. I think this is a card we can hold off on a bit because these semi, kind of a little bit high reserve list cards throw people off still, right? It's not $50 or less. When you get to that $50 or less, it's a lot more easy and palatable for people to accept the price point. Let that one fall just a little bit more if you're looking into it. So our next card today is Null Rod, and that's from Weatherlight, a 2 generic casting cost artifact. Players cannot play any artifact abilities requiring an activation cost. Now, this card can be devastating on certain decks. It has a lot of playability and versatility against artifacts, and that price is pretty attractive. I thought this card would actually go down a little bit further. I thought it would fall into the 80s range. It's not there yet, and it looks like it's seen a little more interest now with the Brothers War drawing some attention to older cards that can mess with artifacts. So keep that in mind. If this is a card you're going for, it's at a very fair price right now. It might be something you want to touch on. You can always trade in, get some cards out of there and save yourself some money by trading in or looking for a moderately played copy. It's a card I would be buying. So next up we have Helm of Obedience, and that's from Alliances. Now the average price, guys, $59. This was at $130 at one point. We're down to $59 for a near mint copy. Moderately played ones are like $35, $36. Very attractive at this thing. Now it's a 4 generic casting cost artifact, okay? And basically you're going to pay X and tap it. When you pay the X and tap, the opponent's going to flip cards into their graveyard until they flip a creature card. This was devastating to me back in the day because I didn't have any creatures. So people knew it, and they would just make me flip 20 at a time sometimes. And you're like flipping your entire deck out. So it was brutal. But if a person's got creatures, it's a way of getting a creature onto the battlefield, but at the same time, milling their deck. It's a very, very attractive card for a lot of people. And again, reserve list, guys, not coming back around, not going to cost an arm and a leg to get at least one copy of this card in case you ever do decide to use it. It's a recommended buy. I grab that card. Now this one, okay, Winter's Chill. This is a card that I ignored as a kid. I just hated the amount of text you had to read to understand what this card wanted you to do, so I ignored it. And you know what? For removal, blue doesn't have a lot like this. So let's keep that in mind. Let's work through this text together. Winter's Chill is 1 blue plus X. It's an instant. Cast only during combat before defense is chosen. At the end of combat, destroy X target attacking creatures. X cannot be greater than the number of snow-covered lands you control. For each attacking creature, its controller may pay 1 or 2 to prevent it from being destroyed this way. If that player pays 1, the creature neither deals nor receives combat damage. If that player pays 2, the creature deals and receives combat damage as normal. Now I understand it is not the most effective card for eliminating a mass army of creatures. But if you do it when somebody's tapped out and they're not expecting a wimpy loser card like this on the reserve list in a blue deck, you are going to rock some people. Okay? People do not expect cards like this to even exist anymore. It is blue wiping out the battlefield on your opponent's creatures. And they've tapped out. They're coming to get you. You've got, I don't know, a commander deck with a whole bunch of blue lands in it that are snow covered. And you play this. If you build a deck, including this card in because you have some snow covered lands, think about what you can do to them. I mean, I know it's not ideal. I know there's lots of better removal spells, but does blue have any better ones? I can't wait to see the comments on this one because for $2.24, this can do a lot of damage to people, like a scary amount of damage. So, you know, wiping out somebody's entire battlefield and helping out another player in a commander game, this card can be totally rocking. So let's go ahead and check out our next card today, and that's Altar of Bone. Now, Altar of Bone, this one's not the cheapest either. It's been up and down. It's been as high as, I think, $30. We're about 2/3 down right now. And this one's 1 green, 1 white. It's a sorcery. Sacrifice a creature to look through your library for a creature card and put it into your hand. After showing it to all other players, reshuffle your library afterwards. So imagine just getting rid of some 0 casting cost wimpy thing or a token creature, and you just say, hey, I'm going to go get this 15, 15, 20, 20, 90, 90, whatever you've got in your deck, because you know they're always changed up the creatures and which ones are legal and not. Just imagine the fun you can have with a card like this. And it's been falling in price. It's near the bottom it's ever been. So pay attention to it. If it's a card you want, you might impress yourself by picking one up for $5, $6 in about 6 months. All right, Hibis of the Scale from Mirage. I know, $2, guys, worthless, right? Reserve list, though. Look at that market price of $1.17. I think TCG Player had some for 89 cents. And of course, if you're shopping on TCG Player, don't forget to use my affiliate link in the description of all of my videos, guys. It does help the channel purchase cards. He is a 2 red, 3 generic, 3/4 summon legend. You may choose not to untap Hibis of the Scale during your next untap phase. Gain control of target dragon. If Hibis becomes untapped or you lose control of Hibis, you lose control of the dragon. Great. So if somebody's building a giant Tiamat deck, or if you for some reason have your dragons taken from you, you can take them back. And that is always a good thing to see. I mean, nice effect, great to see. I like this card, okay? It reminds me of Thrall Champion. I like this stuff, okay? Good card, super cheap. If you're building a dragon deck and you're using Tiamat, you use a 5-color deck, you might as well throw this guy in for $1. I don't think you'll be sorry. Now, our last card today is Wheel of Fortune. You can see here, it's still falling in price. It's still coming down. And that's making it affordable for a lot of people out there. If you're looking for heavily played copies just to play with, they're around $300 Canadian. TCG Player had some heavily played ones for $217. I understand you may want a near mint one and spend the money to get it. But at the same time, if you just need a play copy, get a beat up copy and call it a day. Because this card is nearing the bottom it's been in a very long time. I think it may fall a little bit further, Maybe in 60 to 90 days out, it might be 15, 20 bucks less. But if anything disrupts that market and causes it to turn around on us, you'll be paying more. Right? And remember, guys, all these cards, they're for fun. Never hurt family and friends. Don't spend money you don't have. Everyone's got different circumstances. Some of these cards are a lot more expensive than others. But the opportunities for some of these cards is pretty exceptional. Right? I get it. Some of these cards are pretty awesome. You want them for your decks. And some of the prices here have never been better. So thanks a lot for tuning in. Thanks a lot for hanging out till the end of the video. Guys, really enjoyed talking to everyone today about the reserve list and the cards we can find on there at a bargain sometimes, because fashion comes back around. You ever seen how much a body glove shirt from 1980s is in pristine condition? It's quadruple its value. And this is why things get forgotten. I look forward to reading your comments. Guys, have an awesome day today wherever you are in the world of magic, and I'll see you all tomorrow. A massive shout out goes out to each and every fantastic patron on this channel who makes that world go round. Patrons are awesome, guys. Videos like this would not be possible without you. Why are you guys still here? There's no updates for the 10K box. That's not what we're here for. We're here because it's the end of the video. And you're the special people who made this possible. You're here now. You're here to watch me take a swig of my water to keep hydrated. There you go. You can leave. You saw me drink. How about the fact that we're only 570 subscribers away from getting to 10K? It's blowing my mind. Oh, it's awesome. We got a big shout out from MTG Historian, which was epic. That was like awesome. It was a good weekend. Can't wait to talk about it on the live stream. We'll have a good time this Sunday. I'll tell you that. So guys, thanks a lot for hanging out with me today, man. It means a lot. You guys are awesome. You know you are. You're the special people who make it this far in the videos. Looking forward to tomorrow's video. It's going to be fun. And then, of course, the weekend ones is going to be awesome. And maybe some stuff coming up. Never know. Thanks a lot for tuning in, guys. Have an awesome day. Make sure you eat some food and your veggies. Eat your veggies. Come on. Eat your veggies. Eat them. Try your veggies.